Picture this. You die. And instead of peace, you wake up at a border checkpoint underground, 5 rivers ahead, a locked gate behind, and a 3-headed dog watching you. The Greeks were so afraid of the ruler down there, they avoided even saying his name. But why would they fear a god who, according to the oldest stories, wasn't even the one who killed you? By the end, you'll see Hades from demon villain to something far more unsettling and far more real. After the Olympians overthrew Cronus and ended the Titan reign, the universe needed order. So Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades did what powerful brothers always do. They split the inheritance. Zeus took the sky, Poseidon took the seas, Hades took what nobody wanted to talk about, everything beneath. And that's where Hades begins to feel like a horror story. It's the one destination every human will reach eventually. Hades was born to Titans, Cronus as father, and often said to be Rhea as mother in most traditions. He was among the first generation of Olympians, and also among the first victims, because before he ever ruled anything, he was swallowed alive by his own father, trapped in a living prison of darkness until Zeus forced Cronus to release his children. Imagine spending your earliest existence inside a god's stomach, then being handed the keys to the underworld. That shapes a ruler. Here's where most modern depictions get it wrong. The Greek underworld wasn't automatically fire and demons. It was more like a massive ancient city of the dead, structured, bureaucratic, and terrifying because it runs on rules. The underworld was said to lie deep beneath the earth, ringed by 5 legendary rivers, each one like a different kind of doom. Acheron, the river of woe; Cocytus, the river of lamentation; Phlegethon, the river of fire; Styx, the river of unbreakable oath; Lethe, the river of forgetfulness, where memory dissolves like ink in water. And beyond them, a gate, often described as impenetrable, guarded by Cerberus, the 3-headed hound whose job is simple. You may enter, you may not leave. But if Hades is so strict, why do a few mortals manage to bargain their way out? Hold that thought. When someone died, the soul didn't just fall into darkness. It was guided, often by Hermes, the messenger, acting like a cosmic escort. Then came the crossing, a ferry over Acheron, run by Charon, the boatman. And Charon wasn't cruel. He was transactional, like a toll booth at the edge of eternity. That's why the Greeks buried their dead with coins, often placed on the body, sometimes even in the mouth, so the soul could pay the fare. No coin, no crossing. You didn't get tortured. You didn't get judged. You just waited, a kind of spiritual buffer zone stuck between worlds. Imagine being close enough to hear the river, but never close enough to cross it. Past the gates, souls faced 3 judges, often named Minos, Rhadamanthus, and Aeacus, who decided where you belonged based on what you did in your life. The honorable could be sent to Elysium, peace, reward, release. The wicked could be condemned to punishment. The darkest regions, often associated with Tartarus. And Hades? He wasn't portrayed as a tantrum-throwing tyrant. He was the administrator of the inevitable, a judge's judge, a ruler of a kingdom that runs on permanence. His palace was described as immense, rooms glinting with gold, silver, and jewels, because Hades also ruled what lies beneath the earth, wealth itself. That's why he gained titles like Pluton, the rich one, not rich in sunlight, rich in what's buried. He's often shown seated on an ebony throne, stern, bearded, unyielding, wearing a helmet forged by the Cyclopes that could grant invisibility. And in his hand, not Poseidon's trident, but a bident, a 2-pronged staff, an emblem of authority that could shatter resistance like brittle stone. 2 stories expose Hades better than 1,000 modern movies. Heracles entered the underworld as part of his labors, tasked with bringing back Cerberus. He doesn't sneak in, he doesn't threaten, he asks. And Hades, king of the dead, does something unexpected. He agrees on one condition: Cerberus must not be harmed. So Heracles wrestles the beast with bare hands, proof of strength without cruelty, and returns Cerberus later, intact. Then there's Orpheus, the musician who came for his wife, Eurydice. His music moved the underworld itself. Hades grants him a chance, with a rule: don't look back until you reach the surface, Orpheus almost makes it. Almost. And then, right at the edge, he turns. Not because he's evil, but because he's human. Because doubt is louder in the dark, and Eurydice is lost again. This time forever. So here's the truth. Hades wasn't the god of death. Thanatos was. Hades didn't hunt you. He didn't strike you down. He simply ruled the place you arrive when it's already done. And that's exactly why the Greeks feared him enough to avoid his name. Not because he was a devil, but because he represented the one power no bribe, no prayer, no army can escape. Permanence. Zeus can be negotiated with. Poseidon can be calmed. But Hades, once you're in his kingdom, the rules are final. That's why he defended burial rights so fiercely. Because denying burial was like denying someone their place in the cosmic order. And that's why, in many myths, he isn't cruel. He's consistent, a terrifying virtue. And as for Persephone, his queen, the girl who became the most famous missing person in mythology, her story isn't just romance or kidnapping. It's a political takeover of seasons, life, and death, and we'll unravel that in a future episode. So, what do you think? Was Hades a villain, or the most misunderstood god in Olympus? And here's the real question I'll leave you with. If a god rules the one place you can't escape, is that evil? Or is it simply the most honest power in the universe? If you enjoyed this darker dive into Greek mythology, hit like. It helps this story reach more people. And comment which figure you want next.